Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Aftershocks of After Loss. I am Rachel Donnelly with Black Dress Consultants, and tonight I am so excited to have a good friend join Ashley Jones of Love Not Lost. Hi,
Hello. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good.
Good. How has your day been?
It has been good. I am hoping the fire alarm doesn't go off in the background because I might have burned bacon for dinner.
I hope you're making a BLT.
Close. Avocado, bacon, and egg sandwich.
Oh my gosh. Okay. You're only 2 hours away. I'll be there soon. So as soon as we hang up. Well, I was just introducing myself, and then I'll give you an opportunity to introduce yourself. Good night or good evening, everybody. I'm Rachel Donnelly with Black Dress Consultants, and welcome to our weekly Instagram Live, the Aftershocks of After Loss. And Ashley, why don't you tell us, instead of me introducing you, I think it's always better if you do it. So would love for you to tell everybody about yourself.
Sure. I'll take my glasses off so you can see me better. I'm in my office, so I've not the best lighting, but yeah, I'm so excited to be here with you guys. And thanks, Rachel, for inviting me on. I started a nonprofit called Love Not Lost, and it's been around for over 5 years now. And really, I started it after my own personal experience with loss. I lost my daughter to a terminal illness, and I was 27 years old when she died. She was 21 months old. And it was one of those things where I just was kind of shocked that it was 2011 at the time of her passing. And it was like, we are like pretty advanced as a society. Like, how do we not have more tools and resources for grief when so many other advancements have been made? And so that was kind of the big shocker for me. And then really Love Not Lost was just born out of my heart to pay it forward. We had a friend gift us a professional portrait session with a wonderful photographer, and those photos really gave me a tangible space to grieve and to heal. And I wanted to do that for other people. So I started volunteering and donating sessions to anyone I heard of facing a terminal diagnosis, and wanted to do it on a much greater scale than I could just do by myself, and figured that I could find other people who are willing to help me give it all away. And so I started Love Not Lost, and since then have expanded tremendously with just our really desire to create tools and resources, like we, just mentioned, of like action things that people can do or use or say or whatever to help people in grief, whether it's the person who's going through grief or someone who wants to help them.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm just I'm blown away that, you and I are now walking on this journey together as a board member of Love Not Lost. So I feel so honored to be along with you on this journey, to serve you and Love Not Lost. So first of all, it's an honor to join you. And I'm just so inspired by your story. And prior to me getting on here, I saw a quote that said, so people will say, when you're in the grieving process or after you've experienced a loss, you're so strong, I don't know how you do it.
Yeah.
And then the response on there was, grab the mic, I don't effing have a choice. So how does something like that resonate with you, with what you experienced and what you did with your grief?
Yeah, I think we do what we have to do to survive, and we do what we have to do to help our loved ones survive as well. Right. And so for me, it was like, there was no question in my mind that I would do anything and everything I could to keep my daughter alive and happy and well as long as I possibly could. even when that meant really hard things and I had to learn so much so fast, and you know, there were lots of sleepless nights and exhausting days and all of that. But when you love someone, you know, it's like part of love is the sacrifice, right? And it's and so, you know, and grief is just the other side of that. So when someone dies, it's not that you know, it just disappears. It's like that love turns into grief, and it's not a bad thing. It's just transformative.
Yes.
And so it's love in another form. And yeah, so I think I agree with that in the sense that, like, yeah, you do what you got to do. And it's not that I'm any stronger than anyone else. I just had a really tough situation thrown on me that I was like, okay, it's either like I rise to the challenge or my daughter dies. So I'm going to rise to the challenge, you know?
Absolutely. Yeah.
But I really loved the article that you shared on LinkedIn. So if anyone doesn't follow Rachel and I on LinkedIn, definitely follow us on LinkedIn because we have a lot of fun on there.
We do.
But
too much fun for LinkedIn, probably. We got to lighten it up somehow, right?
I know. But the article that maybe it was you, or it might have been who am I thinking of? Anyway, someone shared about grief that oh gosh, I'm gonna butcher it, but basically it's when someone dies, your grief is basically your way of healing is taking that grief and learning how to continue a relationship with your loved one.
Yes.
And continue that connection, and then still learn how to get out of bed every day.
Yes.
And I just thought that was really beautiful. It was like a really succinct way of kind of sharing what it's like in the aftershock of after loss.
Yes. I mean, because there's so much to unpack with grief, and grief is not linear. Your grief is as unique as you are. I call BS on the 5 stages. But you know, I think everybody has their own journey of grief. And of course, losing a child is the you know, the ultimate. That's the ultimate grief journey. And just me as a mother, me as a human being, a woman, you know, that's the ultimate loss. And so let's talk a little bit about, you and I had chatted about this before, your sort of journey with grief and how it affected you at the beginning, how you internalized it. Like, what was your process and journey with that grief at the beginning?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be really honest, you know, at the time of her death, I really didn't think my heart would keep beating. You know, I just stood there thinking, how am I still here? You know, like how am I taking this breath in and this breath out? And I'm pretty sure my heart is still beating, but I don't know how that's possible because it's so shattered. Like this is crazy that I'm still surviving. And then it kind of turned into this, you know, aching black hole, where I just felt like I was collapsing in on myself. And it was such a deep grief that it was really hard to get out of bed. Like I joke around, I tell this story a lot, that like the only reason I got out of bed, I don't have any other children, is because I had a dog who refused to pee on the floor. And so like,
that's a really good potty trained dog. I don't know. You're probably like, please pee on the floor. Please.
I did. I was like face down in my pillow, just like, I don't care, dude, pee on the floor. And he would just stand there and whine for hours. And then finally I would feel bad enough because he was whining. I mean, maybe not hours, but certainly like an hour, I'm sure, on some days. And finally I would just get up and get outside. And the beautiful thing about that, and I love dogs so much, but that simple movement really helped break me out of that cycle of just laying in bed. And then also it was August when she died. And so, you know, it's just the fresh air, the summer sunshine, the flowers, you know, all of that really kind of helped just give me some new life each day. And so, yeah, my dog saved me out of that deep depression for sure. And then as far as, you know, just functioning every day, it was like, when she first died, the photos that we had of our family were so painful to look at that I actually like just took them all and like turned them face down, on the shelf, on our dresser, everywhere. And because every time I looked at them, like my heart would just break all over again. And it was like a reminder of her permanence of being gone, you know? But then after like, you know, a week or two, it was like, well, gosh, I just miss her face, you know? And it's like, I just want to see her again, and those big blue eyes and the smile, like all of it. And so one by one, I just started turning them back up again. And it was just, you know, those photos allowed me to have that relationship, that continued connection. And then of course they helped in ways that were very unexpected. So, you know, people will come over and try and sit with you and talk with you, or just be there in whatever capacity they can.
Right.
But when there's human to human interaction, it's really hard to come to a place where there's no fear, where there's no insecurity, where there's no judgment or any expectations.
Yes.
And even with the best intentions, you know, it often doesn't go well. And so, yeah, so it was like, that I found in the photographs was just being able to be present and just sit with my grief however I needed to grieve. So anyway, that was just kind of that raw grief journey, was like my dog in the photos, you know, like got me through the worst of it.
And let's talk. You touched on it a little, and you and I have talked about this before. How you probably felt like you had the cooties after Skylar passed away, and that people didn't know what to do, what to say, how to show up, and it made them sitting in their own discomfort kept them from reaching out. What did that possibly feel like? And what guidance do you give to others who may have an Ashley in their life right now?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, I was really surprised when my husband and I started going back to church. People would see us coming down the hallway and literally make eye contact with us and then turn around and walk the other way.
Holy cow.
And it was like,
wow.
And it didn't happen often, but it happened enough where we started noticing, and we were like, people are literally running from us, and like hiding from us because they don't know what to say, or they don't know what to do, or they're just afraid. And so, yeah, it literally, it felt very isolating. And it was one of those things too, that you're like, you kind of laugh about it, because you're like, am I really that scary? Like, do I have a third eyeball I don't know about? Or, you know? And so, yeah, I think that was surprising, first of all. And then really disheartening, second of all, because it was just like, I don't need you to say anything. Like, I just need you to say hi.
Yes.
And just be present. And like, you don't even have to ask how I'm doing. You don't have to like do anything other. Is like, for me anyway, I'm a physical touch person. So I was like, I just want a hug. Like, you can just be like, hey, Ashley, and give me a hug and walk away. And I'd be like, cool, thank you.
Yes. Yeah.
My husband's not a physical touch person. So he would just want to be, you know, be like, hey, Kyle, what's up? And, you know, and then walk away, and that's it. But I think for those who, you know, are in a place in life where they're walking alongside of someone who've just lost either, you know, a relative, a child, a spouse, whatever the loss is, I think the thing that I try and communicate most is, like, no matter what you do or say or whatever that is, if you come from a place of love, that is the most important part, because the people who turned around and walked the other way were afraid. And they chose fear instead of love.
Exactly. Yes.
And one of our core values at Love Not Lost is to choose love over fear, and to really like lean into those hard places. Even when we are afraid, like fear doesn't go away, right? Like we all have fear. It's just like, can we push through it and show up in the midst of that and really ask people, how can I love you better?
Yes.
And so that's like the driving question of Love Not Lost, because we really believe that love brings healing. And it's like this beautiful cycle that, you know, because someone loved me, and I should clarify, there were so many people at our church who loved us incredibly well. Like,
oh, absolutely.
The leadership were so supportive. And it was actually like, there were so many people at our church who loved us so well that that's actually part of what inspired that question of how can we love people better? Because, I mean, complete strangers showed up for us in miraculous ways. And it really made the difference, because when Kyle and when our hearts were so broken over losing our daughter, you know, we didn't have the capacity to love ourselves, let alone each other. And it felt like our relationship was breaking, but it was really just that our hearts were broken and we couldn't love each other.
Yeah.
And it's not that we didn't love each other, we just couldn't express it.
Exactly.
So that's, you know, that's kind of like, if you, like, you know, your person, whoever you're trying to support. So, like, you know, I try to stay away from like specifics, because, you know, like dinner's always helpful. Money's always helpful. You know, time is always helpful.
Yes.
Like chores are always helpful.
Absolutely. Yes. Go mow the lawn.
But but you know the person that you're trying to support better than I do. And so the question really becomes, how can you love them well? And how do they want or need to be loved right now? And what is your capacity to meet that need?
Yes. I just love that. And that's why I'm so in love with serving Love Not Lost. And shouting it from the rooftops as much as I can, and, you know, raising as much money. And I'm going to have a challenge to everybody at the end of this, but let's unpack about Love Not Lost. You had that beautiful family portrait session with Skylar, which I feel so honored that you shared Skylar with us. You know, to have that and to have her there, and she's, you know, she'll be memorialized and honored forever with those adorable pictures, which I just want to like do raspberries on her stomach. Like, she's so stinking cute. I can't stand it. So let's talk about like what that, you know, did for you, and then how that transpired into doing this for others, and hopefully this turning into a nationwide service, movement, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, so real quick, because I can get off on lots of tangents.
Me too. I know, as you can tell, I just went on like, that was really one long tangent.
So do you want me to break down just the inspiration of those photos, making like doing it for others? Okay.
Yeah. Let's break that down first.
Yeah, I mean, I think what I realized in the session that we had given to us is that we live in a very digital world.
Right.
And it's really easy to keep everything digital. Mm-hmm. But when we're looking at a digital screen, it's very it's very flat. Like, it's very 2D, you know? And there's so many distractions, right? You have pop-ups, you have alarms, you have phone calls, you have text messages. It's like, like, it's very hard to create a sacred space in a digital form.
Yes.
And so that is where the power of the print is, because it creates a physical, tangible way to connect with your loved one,
Right.
without any distraction. And you can hold your loved one when they're not here to hold. You can sit with them. You can ugly cry. You can talk to them.
Yep.
You can tell them all the things you wish you could have said. You know, you can still carry on that relationship. And I think, you know, that's the importance of the print, which is why at Love Not Lost, we do deliver all the digital images to the families that we serve, but we also create a really beautiful handcrafted photo album that is, it's like wedding book quality, you know. It's really designed to last through the generations, because we want this to be a treasure that people can pass on, you know. And so that's really like the inspiration on the photo book and the prints and all of that. So anyway, that's I'm happy to go into more specifics if you want. Fire away.
Yeah. So let's talk about, you know, there are a couple of services that Love Not Lost provides. You know, first and foremost are these complimentary photography sessions. How do you come to work with a family? Is it the family applies? Is it they're recommended by hospice organization, or like how do they come to LNL?
Yeah. A couple different ways, honestly. We've had people find us from social media, which has been great. We have a hospital partner with Northside Hospital. So we've partnered with all of their oncology centers to serve stage 4 metastatic cancer patients. We have a partnership with several hospices and hospice nurses who refer people to us. And then honestly, media features too. So being on Instagram Lives, podcasts, getting featured in the AJC or on BBC Radio, you know, it's so we do get people who've heard us in different scenarios. And then also we'll like people who hear us on media features will like share it with their network, you know?
Yes.
And so we do get people who are like, oh yeah, a friend of a friend of a friend told me.
Yes.
We're like, great. We're so glad you found us.
Yeah. And that was so exciting to see you be spotlighted on BBC, and you know, your TEDx speaker series or spotlight. When was that? A year ago? A year or two ago?
No, it was just this past November of 2020.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Wow. Okay. Why did I think it was longer? Anyway.
It feels a lot longer.
Well, yeah. I mean, this past year, time is so crazy. But if anybody's just joining us, I'm so delighted to have Ashley Jones from Love Not Lost with me. I'm Rachel Donnelly with Black Dress Consultants, and this is our weekly Instagram Live, Love Not Lost. I mean, what am I saying? The aftershocks of after loss. I've just got LNL on the brain. So let's talk about how could someone support? The grief tools. I think that's super important into how can I love you better? So besides in addition to these super duper important photography sessions, the grief tools and resources, that is a component of Love Not Lost. Tell us about that.
Yeah. So, you know, going back to the question, how can we love people better? When we were serving families, you know, we just heard story after story after story of people's communities falling away, friends not showing up, you know, family members getting tired and just disappearing or whatever it was.
Right.
And so that was something that, you know, we heard over and over again. And then as Love Not Lost grew, I would get invited to speaking engagements. I've spoken at corporate retreats, you know, events, workshops. And so what I realized was after each speaking engagement, I would have at least one person, if not a line of people, who would say things like, oh my gosh, my coworker just lost her baby. Like, what can I do? Or my friend just lost their dad. How can I help him? Or, you know, just so many stories. And so we realized that there was this huge disconnect between people who wanted to help and then the people who were actually suffering. And it wasn't that, I mean, in some instances, it might be people don't want to engage, but I feel like in most instances, people wanted to engage and just didn't know how or didn't feel equipped or confident enough to show up. And so that's where we were like, all right, we see this bridge, like there's a massive gap here. And and we see the bridge that we can build. Let's build it. And so we created, is actually a postcard first because my background's in graphic design and communications. And so I just created a postcard. And on the front of the postcard, it said, how can I love you better? And on the back, it just said, had a quick, you know, printed message that said, I see you're going through a tough time right now. I'm really sorry, but I want to be there for you. And I just don't know how. Please tell me the tangible ways that I can show up for you. And then it had a list of check boxes, and it had like, do your yard work, bring you a meal, sit and talk, get you out of the house, you know, bring you coffee. And then it had blank check boxes so you could customize it and offer your own suggestions, or you could leave them blank so they could fill out. And so the idea was that you would give it to someone and they could mail it back, or you would mail it to someone and they could send it back to you or hand it back to you. And from the start, I actually wanted to create it as an app, and I was asking people, and I have a lot of developer friends, and I was like, okay, who can help me build this app? And they were like, oh my God, you don't even know what you're asking. And I was like, you're right, I don't.
You don't know what you don't know in terms of app development.
Totally. And so I didn't realize how big of an ask that was. And so I actually met a guy named Jeff Hillemeyer, who is now one of my mentors. And we spoke on the same stage together at an event called Summon Substance. And we just had so much fun. And afterwards, he had shared about his web company, Dragon Army, and a nonprofit he had started called 48 and 48. So they build 48 websites in 48 hours for 48 nonprofits.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so when I brought him this postcard, I was like, look, I need someone to help me make this digital. I don't care if it's an app or if it's a website. Like, we just need
whatever, make it something.
Like, it has to be something someone can send digitally.
Yes.
And they were awesome, and they helped us create howcaniloveyoubetter.com as the website, and it's an email form. So, you know, it's an email back and forth. And so it's this really beautiful exchange of that postcard, but in a digital format. And with the digital format, there's much more customization obviously with what you can offer. And then also, we have a calendar plugin. So, you know, like you could say, Ashley, how can I love you better? And I would say, Rachel, if you could bring me lunch on Friday at noon, that would be awesome. And then you could be like, awesome, I'm there. What do you want me to get you? You know?
Yes.
So that's kind of the main functionality. And we have a couple other things, like we have different colors and different phrasing. So like, obviously, like, you probably don't want to ask your coworker, how can I love you better?
And they might call HR.
Right.
You know,
Depending on your culture, like, you know, and that's one thing we're trying to change, is that love is not just a romantic word, but but we have you know, like, different phrasing for
support,
people, you know, comfort levels. So that's one of our tools that's in existence right now. But we've actually partnered with the New York Life Foundation, and we haven't announced it publicly yet, so here we go. But breaking news!
You heard it here, folks. Heard it here first, folks.
That's right. That's right. So we've partnered with the New York Life Foundation to create that tool as a grief support app.
Oh my
And
gosh.
we are so excited. We have we still need like one or two other funding partners. So that's why we haven't announced it officially publicly yet.
Okay.
Because we want the other funding to come through to guarantee that it's going to happen. And I'm confident it will, but it's just,
Yeah.
So that's what we're working on. And I'm so excited about that, because that's going to have it like so much more in-depth functionality than what we've been able to do. And it's gonna truly revolutionize the way we support one another, and I'm so pumped for it. So that's one thing. And then the last thing is our corporate care program, which we launched on March 6th of 2020 as an in-person workshop. So that went
you and I have such
well.
Great timing. I mean, I unveiled this business in February of 2020, so
I know. So anyway, it was we had one like presentation of it, and then we got shut down. But what is cool is we've connected so Ruth, who's our C-level executive coach and psychotherapist, who helped me put it all together, we filmed everything as modules to turn into an online course. And so that's something that we're launching later this year. The videos are being edited, and we are we're excited for that. And,
oh my gosh,
and
so excited.
The vision is that the grief support app would help be a tool for that corporate course as well.
Oh, I love that. That is, such a mission that's close to my heart. It's something that, I've looked into, just changing the landscape, flipping the script of how we death at work. And I know that sounds weird, but employers, it would behoove them so much to take so much better care of their employees when they're going through that time and through that journey. And so
Brooke just asked, is it available now? And it's not, Brooke. We're fundraising for it right now.
So that's a great call to action. So what do we need to make this happen? So I know one call to action, we could ask for our listeners now, to donate 100,000, but that's probably a little bit too high of an ask. But, I'm, as a former fundraiser and major gift officer, I am not shy about asking anyone for 6 or 7 figures. But I think the more appropriate call to action would be to challenge everybody here tonight to join the Heartbeat. Mm-hmm. Tell them about the Heartbeat, which I have joined the Heartbeat, and tell them all about it.
Yeah, so the Heartbeat is our monthly giving program that we really branded this year, because last year, or really at the start, we called it our foundation builders. But, we survived 2020.
Yes.
And it was a huge part due to our monthly givers who, I think only 1 or 2 people dropped off throughout the whole year. And
that's amazing.
It was remarkable. And I have chill bumps, just seriously, just thinking about it, because it really made the difference. And it really saved us. That and the PPP is the reason we are still here today. Yeah. And so, when 2021 came around and it was the new year, I was like, well, we can't keep calling people foundation builders, because our foundation's built. We just survived the biggest upset, of nonprofit giving that I'm aware of.
Exactly.
And so our foundation's pretty unshakable. And so that's freaking awesome. Yes. So what do we call people now? And I just sat with it for a while, and, it was the Heartbeat, because not only did our monthly givers love us so well as an organization to help us survive 2020, but they're the reason that we keep showing up for people, and they're the reason that we keep loving and sustaining and growing. And so anyway, love the community of people that we have giving monthly.
Mhm.
So in addition to like when it, before we just had a name for people, it was just the foundation builders. But
Right.
with the Heartbeat, we're actually developing a community. So we're going to have a quarterly Zoom call, and it'll be a time for the freaking awesome people who give monthly to meet one another,
Yes.
because everyone is
Yes.
so incredible.
Yes.
And then it'll be a time that people can have Q&A time directly with me. They can, get to meet families that we've served. We're going to have guest speakers every quarter. So you can meet people within the community. And so that's really exciting. You get fun swag. So on your giving anniversary,
I mean, I've got
my get fun mail.
I mean, you get little, blinking hearts and all sorts of stuff. So,
So it's great. And truly, like, it's really about becoming a part of something that's just bigger than ourselves, and really serving other people and allowing us to create these tools and to serve the families and to revolutionize the way we heal and grief.
Yes. And I mean, so I think so many times, me having been in fundraising for the last 20 years, people get hung up on, oh, my gift isn't going to make a difference because it's not $1,000, it's not 5,000, it's not 10,000, or the mega gift. But what people don't realize is that, nonprofits rely on that monthly sustainable income to make through the next month, the next year, and to pay bills and to support their programs. And your gift of $10 a month makes such an impact, regardless of size, regardless of, whatever, it makes an impact. Your gift will directly impact a family in need, will directly impact, grief support and tools for Love Not Lost. So it doesn't matter the size. So I challenge everyone on here, if you haven't yet done so, go to lovenotlost.org and sign up to join the Heartbeat with any gift of any size each month. I mean, like, take those 2 frappuccinos or whatever you get on a monthly basis, and give that to Love Not Lost instead.
And if people want to know like what a simple gift can do, like $25 a month is enough to sponsor an album for a family each year.
Okay, so $25 is an album. So, okay, what would $50 a month do?
I'm not sure about 50, but $85 a month will sponsor a whole family session.
Okay.
Plus the album. And then obviously if you want to go crazy and do $250 a month, you'll give a family a photo album every single month, which would be freaking phenomenal.
Yeah. Yes. So you see, any $25, $85, even $10 a month, if we had 3 people do that, those would provide an album for one family.
And even like $10 a month would be like, we send gifts to families as well. So we do photo ornaments.
I love that.
Holiday gifts. We send cards and notes throughout the year for holidays or, anniversaries. So even like $10 a month allows us to do those things, you know? So it doesn't have to be big. And I just wanted to share that because it truly, like, any amount makes a difference. It
does. Absolutely. And so, like I said, again, everybody, please go to lovenotlost.org. How could I love you better? .com. Okay.
Yep. And so lovenotlost.org is the nonprofit site where you can learn about everything else. And then the howcaniloveYouBetter.com is the support tool if you want to reach out to someone who's going through a tough time.
And I should be embarrassed as a board member that I didn't know it was .com and
You are new. You totally have grace period.
All right, it's duly noted. Okay, and then the exciting news that I'm so glad that you shared tonight about Love Not Lost partnership and collaboration with the New York Life Foundation to help build a dynamic app that is going to serve so many people. So if anyone in our audience knows a natural partner, a funding partner that may be interested in this, you can reach out to me. You can reach out to Ashley. How can people learn more about, so they could learn more about you at Shuttersuite? That is your handle. And at Love Not Lost is the Insta handle for Love Not Lost. And you're on the Facebook, you're on the
at lovenotlost.org is our handle across Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We have an account on TikTok. We haven't started posting yet. We're still like learning that because we're old millennials.
Exactly. I mean, no, I'm sorry. I mean,
and then
you're on Clubhouse. You're on Clubhouse.
Clubhouse.
Yes. See,
I'm on Clubhouse.
You're a totes millennial because you're on Clubhouse.
Totally. And then on LinkedIn, Ashley Nicole
LinkedIn,
Jones.
yes, follow us.
And if you can't, I know like that name is super common, even using my middle name. So feel free to go to search Love Not Lost.
Yes.
Follow us there, and then from there you can search people, and you'll find me there.
Or if anybody is connected with me, Rachel Donnelly on LinkedIn, I'm connected with Ashley. And like I said, please follow us. Please learn more about Love Not Lost. And most importantly, get out the credit card, get out the checkbook, if anybody even has a checkbook anymore, and send some money. And
Amanda just joined, and she's one of our Heartbeat members. She's actually one of our OG foundation builders. So thanks, Amanda, for joining us.
We're going to raise the roof for her. So, well, Ashley, this has just been such an honor to have you. I'm so grateful that you and I have been connected on this earth, and that I get to be in your presence and work alongside you and support your inspirational mission and your goals. And if I can help do anything, I will do it, because I am all in. I'm whole hog for Love Not Lost.
I am so glad. We got to give a shout out to Megan, our other board member, for connecting us. Megan is a pretty awesome person, has a company called Boundless Impact Agency. So she's been helping us with events for a while. And she was like, "You have to meet Rachel." And I was like, "Okay, great." And I was like, "Yes, I do. Sign her up."
It's like the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, Yes. I mean, it's just, So I'm so grateful that Megan brought us together, and look forward to us, taking Love Not Lost towards world domination. And so everyone, please follow Love Not Lost. Please look them up online, learn more, and support them. And Ashley, I look forward to seeing you again soon. And thanks so much for being here tonight.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think I'll see you next week.
Yeah, I think I will. Yeah.
Cool. Awesome.
All right.
Have a good night, everyone. Thanks for joining.
Thank you. Thanks.